Fisk. I'll take you on 17th Street, and I'll kick spirals right down the middle of D.C. streets. All right,
you at least have to have Johnny Hecker on the show, Van Pelt. I mean, come on.
Well, if I don't, I'm going to ask Sean McVay about him, who's scheduled to join us. And as you guys leave L.A., Lewis, I'll start with you. How will you view where the Rams fit into that loaded West and the overall of the NFC?
I think they fit in just fine, and I think they'll be there in the end. Why? Because they established their identity tonight, and Sean McVay made it a point to us that that's what he wanted to do. He hated how this team played last week against the San Francisco 49ers. The players hated how they played, so he said, there's one thing we're going to do. We're going to find out if we can run the football and really just man up and push people off the line of scrimmage. We're going to find out something about Chicago Bears, too, particularly on defense. I think some of those questions were answered tonight, and it's looking good for them moving on down the road.
You know, I was interested to see with Sean McVay, how did they respond after a terrible game last week? And then how did they respond this season to what happened last season, going 9-7? And everybody's saying, hey, the shine is off the star of Sean McVay. Well, he came out today, he had a game plan, he knew exactly what he wanted to do, and they executed on it. And listen, they lost half of that team from the 2018 Super Bowl. They're not here anymore. There's no more Marcus Peters, Aqib Talib. They have found a new defensive coordinator, Brandon Staley, and they're playing well and together on the defensive side. That's why I think they're going to be there at the end in the NFC West.
Brian, I think that Chicago came in with some questions about the record. Look, I often joke that Detroit and Atlanta invent ways to lose, and they did against Chicago. So there were questions about how they'd stack up against this Rams defense. And the offensive limitations in this game for the Bears obviously has part to do with who they played against. But maybe part of it has to do with who they are. And I was interested in some of the comments you made on the telecast about Foles and play calls and the ability or inability to even try to get those off. How stifled is that offense, do you think?
You know, Scott, it's really disheartening as a quarterback when a play call comes in and you know maybe it's a 5 or a 7-step drop, and you know that once you get back to your 5th step or your 7th step, you don't even have time to take a hitch to get rid of the football. And yeah, you might want to push the ball down the field. You might want to throw a 20-yard out. But in Nick Foles' mind, he gets back to his 5th step and he takes the check down right away because he knows that they don't have the protection up front. Now, part of it is scheme, but a big part of it is personnel. They've had injuries on the offensive line, but we've seen other teams when they have injuries on the offensive line, like Dallas, right, or like Philadelphia, they struggle as well, and the Bears are having the same kind of problem.
Look, these are the kind of problems you can't really fix during the regular season. So we're going to be talking about them all year long because you can't make players stronger, faster, bigger, to the point where all of a sudden now that he has more protection, he can stand back there in the pocket, he can push the ball down the field. Their margin for error, Scott, is about like that on offense. And if the defense isn't playing up to snuff or the special teams aren't making big plays, every game's going to be a grind. And when you come up against a team like this that can match you blow for blow and they may have better personnel, this may be the result. So I'll tell you what, for Chicago Bear fans, strap in. It's going to be that kind of a season.
And as disheartening as this performance might have been, you are what your record says you are, and they do leave with just 2 losses on the resume. We'll see how they are able to progress or regress as time moves on. Look forward to seeing what Tampa Bay has in store next week on Monday as they take on the Giants. Travel safe, and we'll talk then, okay?
Got it.
Okay, bud.
Post-game coverage is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest 5G network. With 5G coverage in all 50 states, T-Mobile is your ticket to the game.
So our first look this season at what the NFC playoff picture looks like through Week 7. Early, but not too early to kind of get a sketch of it. With the Bears losing, it's Green Bay, not Chicago, who currently would have the 1 seed in the lone bye. The Rams maintain the brand new 7 seed with their win, while it's currently the Bears in line to face that sub-500 Eagles team as we speak, not yet at Halloween. Like a little kid at the beach when a giant wave comes, just duck. Get the hell out of the way. 3rd quarter, Rams trying to stretch this lead out. Malcolm Brown stays on his feet. O-line gets involved.
Push.
Eventually there'd be a flag for unsportsmanlike. Khalil Mack a little shaken up on the play, but you have to appreciate the effort. That's a bit of foreshadowing of bad beats, by the way. The play to the whistle. Brown into the end zone. Sean McVay excited to having a little bit of breathing room. That Bears defense had kept him in it. Finally, the Bears offense in the red zone. Foles rolls to his left, flips to the corner. It's into double coverage. Tipped by Troy Hill. Taylor Rapp squeezes it. And the Rams continue to lead by 14. Robert Woods, dangerous in that sweep game. Gets around the corner, gains 26. Rams on the march again. And it's Goff. No Higbee in this game, Gerald Everett. He can be a weapon in the passing game and often is. Gotta take your pick with their tight ends. 24-10 game. Late fourth, Foles looking for Jimmy Graham, and he's picked off there by Jalen Ramsey. And that would effectively close this one out. Bears actually got another possession, and it went on for quite a while and really didn't accomplish a whole lot, except our show started later. Aaron Donald did what he does on Monday, wreaking havoc with a season-high 7 quarterback pressures. Donald moves into a tie with Myles Garrett, who's having quite a year with Cleveland for the most in the NFL this season. Time now for our T-Mobile post-game coverage. Lisa Salters with Aaron Donald, the man in the middle.
Aaron, so last week you said you thought your entire team played soft. How would you evaluate the performance tonight?
A dominant performance. I think everybody's flying around, playing physical, hitting hard. Big Ramsey making plays, so so that's the type of points that we want. That's the type of defense we're supposed to play like. So it was lights out today for us. So
coming into the game, you said that you wanted to dominate in the ground game, and you guys did just that. You held them to just 49 yards rushing. What was the key to that?
Everybody just doing what they need to do. You know, up front, we're knocking back, controlling our gaps. Linebackers filling, guys at the safety position filling, and everybody's swarming to the ball. So when you tend to play football like that, you tend to win games.
The fourth down stops, the end zone interception. Just how does a defense, how do you as a defensive player, how do you feed off of that?
Hey, anytime your team make a big play, you're going to be excited, but we expect that. That's the type of guys we got, you know, from up front to the middle guys to the guys at back, making big plays when we need it, and we came with a big win today. So
you finally got to Nick Foles, a half sack against him. How high was that on your priority list for tonight?
I was just trying to do my job, you know, trying to fly around and do everything I can and to make plays and disrupt. So, you know, big win for us today.
And lastly, I've never asked about a punter before, but I feel like I have to tonight. Just how would you describe just the impact that your punter, Johnny Hecker, had on this game?
The best punter in the National Football League. You know, Johnny's consistent. He do it every single week. And he was a big help for us today, man. He did an amazing job. He was on fire. You know, I think he deserved a game ball. So he had a hell of a game.
Thank you very much. Congrats on the win, Aaron.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, let's do our research on this convincing Rams victory. Play that essentially seals this. Taylor Rapp interception in the end zone. Rams have a knack for halting drives that way. Their 4 red zone picks over the past 2 seasons, tied for the most in the National Football League. Rams also have succeeded in making it a 30-minute game. Monday marked the 30th consecutive win while holding a halftime lead, a streak which dates back to McVay's first year in 2017, which is easily the longest active win streak in the National Football League. On the telecast, they were talking about how the Rams do a stifling job in the second half, and they're 5-1. Bears are the victim in this one, and obviously that NFC West is loaded. The division 704 winning percentage tied for the second highest by any division through 7 weeks since the 70 merger. Everybody's got a plus point differential. It helped that they played the NFC East as well. All right, we welcome in Louis Riddick and Brian Greasy, and I'll have you guys know before we ask any serious questions that I would shred my hamstring if I tried to punt, but I could kick spirals like Ray Guy. I don't know about watermelon punts, but I can
see you try it, though.
All right. Next time I see you, we'll get a football.